The wind beats against the stone walls of Utica, but inside the room the air is completely still. A man sits alone in the quiet dark, reading a scroll. He knows the end is coming. The greatest army in the world is marching toward his door. They bring an offer of peace, wealth, and life. All he has to do is bend his knee to a dictator. But for this man, life without freedom is no life at all. He takes a slow breath, feeling the heavy weight of the choice before him. His name was Cato the Younger. He was a leader in the Roman Republic, a time when laws were supposed to matter more than men. But his world was falling apart. Ambitious generals were tearing the state to pieces. Men of power traded their honor for gold and armies. In a sea of greed, Cato stood like a rock. He lived by a simple code. He was a Stoic. To him, Stoic virtue was the only true good. Everything else meant nothing. He trained his mind and his body to need very little. He walked barefoot in the freezing rain. He ate the plainest food. By choosing the hard path, he built an inner strength that no one could break. This unyielding focus made him a target. The shadow of Julius Caesar began to cover Rome. Caesar was brilliant and hungry for total control. He wanted to rule by himself. Most politicians were too scared to stop him. They took bribes, they compromised, but the man in the bare tunic would not move. Cato chose principle over power. He spoke out against the growing tyranny. He did not care if he made enemies. Integrity was his armor. When others tried to buy him or scare him, they found nothing to grab onto. He was completely free because he did not want what they were selling. The echo of tough choices followed him everywhere. When the Roman Civil War finally broke out, the whole world split in two. Caesar marched his army across the river, breaking the law and starting a brutal fight. Friends turned on friends. Many leaders fled to save their own skin. Cato took the harder road. He joined the fight to save the Republic. He marched his men through the burning sands of Africa. He shared their pain. He drank the same dirty water. He slept on the same hard ground. He fought because it was the right thing to do. But the war turned against them. Caesar won battle after battle. His power grew until it could not be stopped. Soon the last free forces were backed into a corner at the city of Utica. The walls were strong, but the hope was gone. The enemy was at the gates. Inside that quiet room, the final test arrived. Caesar wanted to forgive his rivals to look like a good ruler. He wanted to pardon the great Stoic. If the proud defender accepted this pardon, it would prove that Caesar was the true master. It would show that even the strongest man could be bought with the gift of his own life. The old lessons stayed with him. A man must own his own mind. If you let someone else give you your life, they own you. To accept the pardon meant saying that the dictator had the right to rule. It meant giving up the fight for the law. It meant his whole life of honor was just a show. He made his choice. He spent his last night talking with his friends about philosophy. He made sure his people had ships to leave the city safely. He was calm, clear, and totally in control. Then he went to his room. He read his books, and he ended his own life with his own sword. He chose death over submitting to a tyrant. This final act shocked the ancient world. It was a loud message that rang through history. Caesar had won the war, but he could never conquer the mind of his greatest rival. The dictator had all the power, but the Stoic kept all the honor. The weight of that stand still presses on us today. We may not face an army at our gates. We may not have to fall on a sword, but the test of integrity comes for all of us. It comes when a boss asks you to cut a corner. It comes when telling the truth will cost you money or friends. Every day, the world asks us what our price is. The world wants to know what it takes to make us compromise. Will you trade your values for a promotion? Will you stay quiet to fit in? The path of least resistance is always open. It is always easy. But real strength is built in the refusal. It is built when you draw a line in the dirt and say you will not cross it. It is the deep knowing that your character is the only thing you truly own. When you stop wanting the shiny things the world offers, the world loses its grip on you. You become unshakable. When people see a person who cannot be bought, they feel a deep respect. That kind of power does not come from a title. It does not come from a bank account. It comes from the granite discipline of an honest life. Look at the choices in front of you right now. Find the places where you are tempted to give in. Stop making deals with the things that make you weak. Stand firm, hold your ground, keep your honor no matter the cost.